What's up YouTube, this is Sean, I'm back, and in this video it's going to be part 1 of Master Chief from the Halo Xbox, or Halo? Yeah, Halo from Xbox. Here are all the pieces for the helmet. It does look a bit overwhelming, there is a lot of piece, but as soon as you start doing the process of eliminating, process of assembling, then the pieces they tend to minimize. So I'm going to start off with the top and usually the side. So let's call this the top side area. And I'm going to assemble that part. You're going to want to follow the points to point that I put in the instructions. You see right there, I caught myself. Almost put it on the wrong way. So now that we got this top side part put together, it's time to install the side pieces, which is this this beef jerky looking like thingy. Well, actually I've never seen a beef jerky shaped like that, but you know what I mean. It's the side pieces. I'm going to attach the side piece to this top side piece, and notice right here in the back it's got this little hangover. Well, I did correct that in the pattern, so it's not going to look like this, but it still be, you know, easy to follow. As long as you follow the point to points, then you'll be alright. And I did forget to put an undercut there, a V-groove undercut. I actually forgot to put a V-groove undercut in a couple spots right there, but you'll see later on in the video where I catch myself and I'm like, why does this look funky? But anyways, now I'm done with that one side. I'm gonna go ahead and start assembling the other side. Basically the same thing, you know, just kind of do it in mirrored fashion. Some people will say, man, Sean, you make it look so easy. Well, just keep in mind, I am editing these footages, and a lot of this is sped up. Like, for example, this one right here, I'm going about 400 times the speed. But yeah, I figured I'd leave this in here just so that, you know, you see the entire process. Usually I would have just cut the side out because it's the same as the other side, just mirrored. Alright, now it's time to connect the top centerpiece. Now I did make the modifications right here where you don't have that hangover and you don't have to make those odd connections. But there would be an undercut right there, just so it'll bevel. Probably fill in with some hot glue. And yeah. Now it's time to connect both of the upper part of the helmet. Notice I only glued to a certain point right there where the bill of the helmet is. I'll get back to that one later. Notice I'm using floor mats, which is thicker than the foam that I normally use from TNT. But yeah, this was the only thing I had on hand, so I figured why not. Alright, now I'm assembling the chin area. And that's going to attach to this part of the helmet, the side piece. This is basically going to close the gap right there. And yeah, so far so groovy, and we are almost done cooking. That's not how it goes. But anywho, this is the pieces for the back of the helmet, and I just gonna go ahead and put those together just like that. But before I put that to the rest of the helmet, I'm going to attach this lower front piece, which is kind of like the jawline. And a lot of these cuts are hard angle cuts. Now I normally don't do hard angle cuts. I usually do slight angle cuts, but since this helmet has a lot of you know, pretty hard angle cuts right here especially. Now I'm attaching this back piece to the rest of the helmet, and this is around the time where I figured out, or I realized that I forgot to make some undercuts and some V-groove undercuts. But it's not too late, but it does make things a little more difficult once, you know, you get it all together. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and address that a little bit later on, but right now I'm in the groove. I might as well keep moving. So now that I got that back piece on there, it's time to attach this lower back piece. It's like the lower back piece. Yeah. It goes on just like that, and this also has some weird angles to it too. Alright, now it's time to address those undercuts that I forgot to do. This one is a V-groove undercut, which I glued together after I cut the V shape. And then the other one is just an undercut, which I would normally fill with hot glue. But since I don't have my hot glue all heated up and ready to go, I'm gonna go ahead and use some super glue and just fill it in with some scrap foam. I'm just gonna stick it in there just like that with some super glue. And to speed things up a little bit, I'm gonna use some accelerator. Now I'm using CA glue. This is something that I use out in my woodworking shop, but I think super glue, just normal super glue, will work just fine. I just don't have normal super glue. But yeah, it works just fine. And then I'll fill it in with some scrap foam just like that. You know, hit it with the CA glue, with the accelerator, and the super glue would just dry up instantly. And that's what it's looking like. Then I would go back and trim off that excess foam. Now it's actually quicker to do it this way than it is to do it with hot glue. I normally fill those undercuts with hot glue just so that I don't have to use anything else. But yeah, now that's how it's supposed to look like. Alright, now it's time to attach the this piece right here. Now this part right here does make it different. You normally have to put on the front bill first, but yeah, like the thickness of the foam does make a difference on how far that gap goes and how you use this this little insert right here. Now if you're using thinner foam, like maybe 5mm foam, you probably end up using more of that little filler. But notice when I do attach it, a lot of it gets hidden under, and I'll have to trim that off just because the floor mat is thicker than the foam that I normally use. Now if I was to do this again, I would use 6mm EVA foam from TNT, but since I didn't have enough to do the whole build, I went ahead and just used the floor mats that I had, and I've been sitting on these floor mats for forever, so I might as well just get them done and out of the way. I do like the thickness, which I do end up using floor mats for the rest of the build, but it's textured on one side, so whenever I glue pieces to it, I have to scuff down the textured side so that contact cement can absorb through it. So yeah, so I got the front bill attached. Now it's time to attach that I don't know what you call that, the temple, the side pieces. I'm gluing it down to I guess the jawline. I'm just making names up as I go, and I'm putting this piece right here to the front, just like that. So far so groovy, and I'm digging what I'm cooking. I hope you're digging it too. I nailed it that time, didn't I? Now I am putting a filler piece right here to the front of the bill. It's not necessary, but since I forgot to sand down the texture of the floor mat, I couldn't glue it down to the black EVA foam, so I just put that filler on there just cause. And I'm also putting some filler pieces to the side because the more I looked at it, that gap was just starting to annoy me. Okay, now that I'm done with the whole setup, it's time to do the first stage of sealing the foam, which is hitting it with the heat gun. And you notice how it's starting to shine just a little bit. That's when you know your foam is heat sealed. Alright, now it's time to do the visor. This is the pattern I'm using, and this is the window tint that I'm using. And you're probably thinking, how is window tint going to work as a visor? It's so flimsy. Well, I'm going to show you a really cool trick that I use for visors, and it's the first time I'm actually doing it. Well, it's actually the second. I've done it a couple times. I'm lying. I'm going to use my rotary cutter to cut out the pattern for the visor. Now, I know Master Chief's got a bronze visor, and they actually sell bronze window tint. I just don't have any on hand. I just got this black stuff, so it's going to work. I'm going to use this thermal laminating sheet right here to reinforce the integrity, I guess, make it thicker, stronger, something like that. But yeah, I'm just going to insert the window tint into the laminated sheet. It looks a bit foggy right now, you can barely see through it, but once you laminate it, then it's going to look legit. Now you're going to need a laminating machine. I got this from Walmart. And yeah, it comes in really handy when you want to protect paper. That's what it's originally for, in case you didn't know. But I'm using it to make visors. And I have it sped up 400%, so it doesn't really go that fast. But yeah, once it goes through the machine, you see how you can see right through it. Now I'm gonna go back and trim out all the excess laminate. And yeah, I did leave a little bit extra on top and the bottom, but the sides, you're going to need to trim that one down just right. It actually took me a couple tries to get it, but eventually I got it. Now it's basically just gonna sit on those side pieces, the temple pieces. I don't know what you call that, but yeah, it just sits on there right now, and without any glue or anything, it just kind of holds on. But I will go in and add some hot glue, or maybe just tape it down. But yeah, this is what it looks like from the inside. But I'm not going to glue it down just yet because it's not painted, duh. But yeah, so far this is what it's looking like. I'm digging it. I hope you're digging it too. I'm not going to paint it yet. I'm gonna save that for another video, since I haven't done a painting tutorial, and I know a lot of you guys are new to cosplay, new to this channel. So if this is what you're into, I mean, if you're really into this kind of stuff, then check the links in the description down below. It'll take you to the patterns. Well, I guess that's it for this video. Hit that like button if you got something out of this video, and if you didn't like it, then hit that dislike button twice. Leave a comment and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already subscribed. That's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.